My name's Louise and I work as a scheme manager of the Contracts for Difference scheme, or CFD, at the Low Carbon Contracts Company, which is a private company owned by the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. The CFD is a contract between us and renewable energy projects to promote the development of renewable energy projects in the UK. At the LCCC, we oversee the progress of these projects, ensuring they meet contract milestones to ensure that they will deliver the renewable energy onto the UK electricity system for consumers to use. I didn't start off my career in energy. I studied law and political science at university in Australia, where I'm from. At the time I chose that area of study, I enjoyed reading, history and politics. But it didn't take long to figure out that the culture of corporate law wasn't for me. And I got a job in a government department in Australia working in the community housing sector. Initially it was a research role, but my manager quickly realised that my law degree would be useful in analysing and developing the many contracts he was entering into. So he promoted me to a contract advisor role, where I worked with external community housing providers and our in-house legal team to develop contracts to build more community housing using government funding. In this role, I was developing new contracts, which meant agreeing new contract clauses with the other parties and renegotiating contracts when they expired. I also led several procurements, which was a new field to me and a new term, but it basically means going out to market to find people to provide services for us. Those people bid in, and the lowest price bidder with the best qualifications is awarded a contract. I found this pretty interesting, so I undertook a diploma in procurement and supply to complement the work that I was doing. And then I moved to the UK in 2018, where, I'll be honest, I knew very little about renewable energy, let alone offshore wind farms. But a recruiter put me in contact with Ofgem, which regulates the gas and electricity markets in the UK. The role they were looking for was a commercial manager, helping to run the OFTO regime, which stands for Offshore Transmission Owner. In the UK, offshore wind farms can't be owned and operated by the same company. You have to have a separate generator and transmission owner. So at Ofgem, they run competitive auctions to grant licenses to operate these offshore transmission assets. The way it works is when an offshore wind farm is nearly built and ready to transmit electricity, the owner of the wind farm approaches Ofgem. Ofgem then launches a tender round where different companies, which could be a pension fund or a bank, compete for a transmission license by submitting bids. Whichever bidder has the lowest price and also meets strict criteria, showing they have a robust plan to manage the asset and finance the acquisition, will be awarded the license. My role was to run these tender rounds, managing interactions between bidders and generators until the asset was officially handed over to the bidder. The generator is handing over an asset, so just like buying a car, the transmission license must inspect the asset, check all the warranties are in place, and that it's been built correctly. Offshore wind farms can be located quite far offshore, and maintenance costs often high. So working closely with bidders and generators to make sure the asset is in perfect working order before financial close cuts down on issues between the two parties once the winning bidder takes over the offshore wind farm transmission asset and it's operational. I've been asked how I got the role at Ofgem when I had no previous background or knowledge of the energy sector. The answer is that being a commercial manager utilises skills that I developed in my previous role. Working in procurement, as auctions are a form of procurement, and managing interactions between bidders and generators meant I had to employ my skills of negotiating contract terms. The great thing about a role like commercial management means you can move sector and employ the same skill set you've already developed. It just means you need to teach yourself about the new sector. The role at Ofgem and subsequently at LCCC required me to learn about energy, which isn't easy when you have no background in it whatsoever, but there are always people around who can help you to learn. From Ofgem, I moved to my current role as CFD Scheme Manager at the LCCC, which also focuses on renewable energy options, but the contracts are with electricity generators rather than for electricity transmission. Contracts are also awarded via an auction process. At each auction, renewable energy generators, like owners of big offshore wind farms, bid in to receive a stable price on the electricity they generate for 15 years. The reason this scheme came about was because new renewable energy projects are so big and complex, they require a lot of money to finance them being built. Whilst the renewable energy sector has been growing steadily over the past few years, some people still see the technologies as quite innovative, which is a risk for financiers. And accordingly, it can be hard for generators to finance these projects being built at the right price. Having the government involved by ensuring generators receive a steady price for the electricity they generate means they can attract finance to build the projects at a lower price. In my role, we take a portfolio view of all of our projects, ensuring that issues across contracts are dealt with in a uniform way where possible, working closely with the contract management team. The auctions are run every 2 years, so we can look at how the contracts are functioning, listen to any concerns from generators who already have contracts, and feed that into how the next round of auctions is run and designed. I also keep an eye out for new technological developments. Renewable energy is a fast-moving field, and there are always new and innovative technologies that could benefit from a contract that would help bring financing costs down. Certainly the main skill I've applied in my career that I learned at university is analysis of contracts, from development of contract clauses to negotiating contracts. Being a commercial manager, you're always dealing with contracts and typically have close working relationships with lawyers, as well as the contract management team and procurement team. A contract is really just a tool to make sure that any project is delivered according to plan, and negotiating these clauses successfully requires good planning and preparation. So having an excellent understanding of how the contracts work has meant I know what to look for in contracts when they're being developed to mitigate risk and avoid future issues. And it means that I can be confident negotiating the contract terms, and that's definitely what I've enjoyed most about all my roles. Apart from helping to contribute the UK increasing its renewable energy targets, which I do think is hugely important. Now that I'm working in the renewable energy industry, I think the best thing about it is the passion of everyone who works in it. I've noticed it tends to attract people who really believe their field of work will make a positive contribution to reducing carbon emissions, and that passion makes work far more enjoyable. If you do feel passionately about the environment and believe we need to act to make a change, renewable energy might be a great field for you. That said, I only discovered my passion for renewable energy once I'd started my job at Ofgem. So with that in mind, if you do want to pursue renewable energy as a career pathway, I would encourage you to ensure you find a reason to be passionate about it, and that interest will spur you on and shine through in the work that you do. I would definitely recommend renewable energy as a career option. It's a fast-growing sector, and the UK government mandate to reach net zero by 2050 means there'll be a strong pipeline of work to reach that goal, which means you can be doing great work for the environment and work in a growth sector with good job prospects. You don't have to be an engineer or a scientist or a data analyst to work in the field, although I do work alongside many of them and their roles are very important. But as the sector grows and diversifies, it's only going to bring new opportunities with a variety of jobs needed beyond just those traditional roles. So it will need to attract people with a varied skill set. So do consider it as an option.